and Congressman Mark Alford. Mark, welcome back to KCMO, my friend.
Thank you so much, Ray. Good to be with you.
Let's talk about this issue at the southern border. We talk about it all the time, almost ad nauseum. We just did a story at the top of the hour. A young lady, 13 years old, raped, Venezuelan migrant. I mean, when can we just say we've had enough? Can anybody give me that answer?
Well, the Republicans have been saying for some time now that we've had enough. Last year, we passed the Secure Border Act, H.R. 2, which would eliminate almost all of the illegal entry into the United States of America and make meaningful reforms long term. But this president and the Senate and the Democrats, the woke, broke, liberal section of our country, does not want that to happen. They want a free and open border so that illegal aliens can come into our nation and really tear apart at the fabric of our nation, but also get on voter rolls and increase their majority and help them win back the White House and increase their majority in the House.
You talk about get on voter rolls, and there's so many people that will say, oh, well, that can't happen. And I'm like, oh, wait a second. Most states that are blue are opening the door right on open for people to get their real ID card or their driver's license, because that's what we do. We're fair and equitable. And when people come here illegally, we give them driver's license. How in the world have we got to this point? And do you think it's enough to wake people up, even people that are Biden voters, to say this just isn't tenable for our nation? This isn't the America I envisioned. Are we there yet, or do we still have a little more pain to go through?
Look, this is not the America that I grew up in, nor you. We have gone in just a few short decades from really a Norman Rockwell America to a Rocky Horror Picture Show. And this illegal immigration crisis, which it has been for some time, and this administration refuses to call it that, admit that we do have a crisis until now in an election year. This president is trying to do anything he can to retain his presidency and stay in the Oval Office. He's transferring college debt from Kansas carpenters. Delaware doctors are now transferring their debt to Kansas carpenters and Missouri machinists who are having to pay this debt. This president is trying to win at any cost, and to do that now, he was going to increase the number of U.S. citizens by 500,000 or more of illegal aliens who have been in this country for 10 years. Why haven't they been caught by now and sent back? And if they're married to a citizen of the United States, they're going to be given a pathway to citizenship, and that is wrong.
How in the world is it that we can see this today, we can see it tomorrow? All we have to do is believe our eyes. But the Biden administration will tell you, no, that's not true. Don't believe your eyes. But we have Chinese migrants crossing at the southern border. This isn't how this is supposed to work, and it just absolutely drives me nuts. Now, get back to more optics from the Biden administration and Karine Jean-Pierre. I mean, you and everybody saw over the weekend Biden, whether it was at the G7 or whether it was at it was kind of a ceremony where they had some paratroopers jumping in, and Biden's wandering off stage. He can't focus. He doesn't know where he is. Barack Obama has to lead this guy off stage. Jimmy Kimmel's behind him looking like a lost child, the shill to the Democrat Party that he is. How anybody can watch that show, I have no idea. But they now came out yesterday and said that's not what happened. Biden didn't lead him off stage. I mean, we saw it. We saw it with our own eyes. I mean, now they're telling us that our eyes are lying to us. I mean, it's ridiculous the way they continue to prop this guy up. It's almost like a weekend at Bernie's.
Well, it's like listening to a Jedi Knight. Look away, there's nothing to see here. They are gaslighting the American people. We know what we saw. That video was not doctored in any case. Now, I did see him looking at this paratrooper that landed, and he was going over to see what was going on there. And that's not unusual, but to stay there and be still and fixated like he was on the stage for 8 solid seconds before Barack Obama had to come take his hand and lead him off and put his hand on his back and continue to lead him off. It was like watching someone care for someone in an old folks home. And I think it's almost time that they install a coded keypad on the inside doors of the White House to keep them from wandering out at night.
Little bell on the door, like you have for your dogs when that's not a bad idea. We might have to run that one up the old proverbial flagpole. Congressman Mark Alford is joining us as he does every Tuesday here on KCMO. It really is something, and I wonder, and I mean, it's close, man. We are getting closer and closer to November 5th. Do you think that the Democrats run this guy, or do you think that Gavin Newsom takes the crew pomade that he gets at Walgreens, puts it in his hair, makes himself look all pretty, and they trot this guy out? Do you think that's a possibility? Because it's almost time to say, we got to kind of run the course that we've made for ourselves, which isn't a very good one.
Well, I think the talk more now is get Hillary back in there. She still feels like she's owed a shot at the White House and that she rightfully won. The true election deniers were Hillary Clinton. And so I think that's the fear right now, that let's see how this debate goes. It's less than 2 weeks now. And the performance that Joe Biden gives on the debate stage against Donald Trump, I think it's going to be, for 2 hours, I think is the length of that debate. I think it's going to be brutal. Of course, in any fight, in any debate, they try to set the expectations low, and they've certainly done that with Biden. And who knows what type of drugs they're going to give him to jack him up like he was for the State of the Union address.
Boy, you bring that up because he was lit up for the State of the Union address. And I said this on the radio the other day, Mr. Congressman. I said, look at his forehead at the beginning and then look at it afterwards, because you can see the deterioration of whatever they did with him to get him ready for that. And at the end of it, he looked like a different guy. But you bring up a good point there. I don't know if there's anything in the world that can bring in. And again, this is, elderly people. If that's what you believe when you read the Robert Hur report, a nice elderly man who's forgetful, how this guy will be able to stand and command the stage for 2 hours, I have no idea. Even under the watchful guise of their patriots there in the media, CNN.
He's so feeble, according to Robert Hur, and so old and so decrepit that he can't be prosecuted for his crimes, and yet he can sit or stand on a debate stage for 2 hours and take on one of the toughest people ever in politics, Donald J. Trump. It's going to be interesting to see.
It's interesting. We take in, for years and years and years, you've heard about these medical reports. I know people were laughing when everybody said that Trump weighed in at 235 and, they doctor this and they doctor that. But this Hur report that they've doctored now and omitting things that we should know about as an American people. Really, people have to be held accountable for that, don't you think?
Well, that's exactly right, Ray. And that's why we want to see the videotapes of this deposition. There's one thing to record it and play it back for audio or video. There's another thing to transcribe that. And sometimes things in transcription get edited out. Not necessarily to cover for someone, but to make it more digestible in a transcript to where it can be used more effectively. But when you do that, you take out the context and perspective of the interview. You take out the pauses. You take out the interruptions. You take out meaningful things that really take you there to that room at that time to show the mental acuity of that person. And I think that is very relevant for what we're dealing with now.
From the 4th Congressional District, Mark Alford, always fighting for the folks on the Missouri side. Before I let you go, sir, I want to ask you, this is the time of year when the heat amps up, the rain gets minimal. I want to keep an eye on our farmers. Talk about energy, inflation, costs, and how it just is putting a stranglehold on the men and women that provide for us, and it just continues to do so.
Well, thanks for that question, because I'm in the district all this week, and we were in Clinton and Henry County yesterday talking with farmers. They've been struggling the last couple of years with these high input costs for fertilizer and fuel, especially that this president has really hung around the necks of our American farmers with his war on domestic energy and, in particular, fossil fuels. We've also experienced drought conditions the past several years in much of our district, getting to a D3 or D4 level, which is the most severe. It looks like we have more moisture this year, which is a good thing. We need that moisture. We need sunshine. We need great soil. We have that in Missouri, and we are protecting our farmers through the safety nets they need. We just passed 2 weeks ago the Farm Bill that's going to provide the safety nets for our farmers, feed our nation through the SNAP program, get that reined in some, get the waste, abuse, and the fraud out of the food stamp program, and contribute to more conservation programs so that we can continue to be good stewards with God's creation.
Did I see you camping over the weekend? Was I saying that right on my social media? Cooking up the coffee over a campfire. You were like a cowboy.
Well, I used to own a horse ranch in South Kansas City, 62 horse stalls and 3 riding arenas. But yeah, we were down camping at Bennett Springs, one of the great state parks. It's in our district, a little trout fishing and camping. No electrical plug-ins or anything. This was a rustic camp, primitive camping, as they call it.
Now, can a guy like you can you get back to nature and put the phone down, or do you always have to have that phone with you?
Oh, my wife would love you for asking that question. I did.
Well, I mean, you're an important guy. I get it. I know that it's imperative that all of us unplug every now and then, but it seemed like it would be hard for you to do that.
I should unplug more than I do. I did take my phone with me. We used to not have cell reception there, but they put up some more towers down in that area. And, I keep up with people on social media. I actually interact with them. We have a team that puts out a lot of social media content, but I like to have robust, healthy discussions with people.
I love it, buddy. Always good to talk to you. I was glad you had a chance to get away from it a little bit, do a little trout fishing, cook some coffee over a campfire, and get back to normal for a little bit. We'll talk to you again next week, okay, sir?
All right, Ray. Thank you.
Mark Alford here on KCMO.